This is just to let you know there's more than one way that you can check in on the different types of degree of fuckery we get into. You can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or just watch us on YouTube or Rumble. Don't forget to like, share, and comment where you can, or just leave 5 stars on Apple Podcast. We thrive on things like absolution from our audience, but see if we can get this steamrolled into something big. We're depending on you. Thank you for watching. Now let us begin.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Nerd Sports, we're going to talk about the interesting thing in Britain called cheese rolling. It's a daredevil thrill sport. Have you ever seen that?
Is that where they roll the
They roll the
cheese
cheese
wheel
and they all follow behind it.
down the hill? Oh yeah, dude, that's an orthopedist's wet dream right there.
I'm telling you.
Oh, my dad and a chiropractor, like, oh my God, I've seen some of these dudes wrench their backs, like they go full scorpion while they're running downhill at like 20 miles an hour. And it's like, you look at them, and the guys that are running, they're like, they've got no business being that athletic, like at all.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the kind of guys that, if they lived in the States, they'd be the Olympic curling team. But these guys are like pub rats.
Yeah, they really are. And what's strange about it is you just watch it and you're like, I would never. You know who showed me that though was my daughter. That's the whole reason why I wanted to do that one. She showed me that one. I was like, why are you watching? You know what? I understand why you're watching this.
Yeah,
it's so it literally is a train wreck.
It is. It's dude. It's certifiable.
So.
Before we get into anything else,
actually, I wanted to apologize to everybody. We missed like 2 episodes of from last week. Both of us has been really busy. Nerd Sports is one where we're getting out today. We're gonna do the rest of the episodes this week, hopefully before the weekend. And it's just been hectic. Me doing my thing and Johnny doing his thing. We won't get into the details until everything's said and done. But it's like even big names have like hiccups. So I'm not really worried about it. It's one of those things, and yes, it's. Maria, the thing that we were talking about today, it's what was it? Dish soap and cornstarch.
Warm soapy water and cornstarch.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you unpack these types of things, whether they be fleshlights, whether they be anything made out of silicone, they've got that white film on them. It's cornstarch.
Yeah.
Like the same cornstarch that you use in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what keeps it from sticking to whatever plastic that you stick it in, or it's just or you just basically use it as a drying agent.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. But, warm soapy water, right? Antibacterial soap, let it air dry a little bit, shake the crap out of it. Figuratively, of course.
That would be weird. Anyways,
you just shake everything out of it, all the waters, rinse it really well, and just kind of pat dry it or whatever, and just sprinkle it, dust it with some cornstarch.
Yeah,
not a heavy coat, obviously, because that would just, I would think that would just tend to become more of a problem. I guess I'm not sure.
Okay, we're gonna get off this subject now.
Yeah.
We need to get back into the sports, the stuff that people want to listen to.
Yeah. So, getting into before we get into baseball, sad note: longtime former ESPN reporter John Clayton died a couple of days ago, back on the 18th.
Yeah, I found out about it while getting my hair cut and everything. That was one of their things I wanted to talk about this week. He was prominent in the sporting news and everything. 50 years of sportscasting.
Yeah. But yeah, you would always see him. He had like all the. He was based out of Seattle, the Seattle Sports Radio 710 on the AM dial, but they confirmed it on Twitter. They said, quote, "It is with heavy heart that we share the news of John Clayton's passing. His legendary Hall of Fame career will forever have a lasting legacy on football fans across the world. Our condolences to his wife, Pat, and his friends and family. We will miss you, John." He wrote for a lot of different newspapers early on in his career, like the Pittsburgh Press, the Tacoma News Tribune. He joined ESPN in 1996. He spent 22 years as an NFL writer and reporter for ESPN. He was let go in 2017 as part of the company's mass layoffs. But he had a lot of great insight into the league.
Yeah, a lot of people couldn't match him.
No, it really,
his
yeah,
intelligence on the sport.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of, there's, like when Stuart Scott died. I mean, he made it fun to watch SportsCenter. It was actually kind of the only reason why I watched SportsCenter. They had Kenny Maynes, they had Eric Van Pelt, or Scott Van Pelt rather. They had John Clayton, Chris Berman, but with John Clayton, he had that just relatability when he was talking about the NFL, especially for people like myself who, we kind of like passively watched football over the last couple of years, because I mean, just with the personalities and all of the political and social stances that the league was taking, it just made watching the NFL just painful.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we have nowadays. I mean, I watched the Adam Project just recently.
Oh, that was such a good movie.
That was so. The only reason why comedy's still a thing right now is because Ryan Reynolds. Honestly, that's what's really sad. Because I mean, the best comedy that's came out in a long time, I'll say it was Peacemaker, the Adam Project, anything really with Ryan Reynolds in it. Really, those are the two things. I mean, if you want to consider the Boys Deplorable, that was pretty funny too, messed up. But you just don't have any like really good comedies that much anymore. A lot of people, I mean, most of your good comedy nowadays, it's all on TikTok.
Yeah. Also with ESPN, kind of staying with this theme real quick, Troy Aikman announced back on the 23rd of last month, he's leaving Fox.
Really?
He's leaving Fox NFL. He's going to go to ESPN to call their Monday Night Football games. And everybody was like, oh, wow, that's going to leave a massive hole at the Fox lineup. But, and this is a victory for baseball fans as well. Joe Buck announced that he's leaving Fox and he's going to be joining the Monday Night Football team on ESPN as well. So by that, what that means for us, and I'm hoping that it means that, we will never have to listen to Joe Buck call another World Series.
Why is he that bad?
We're still within our 5 minutes, so I'm not going to go into what people say, but they're like F Joe Buck, Yeah. I mean, he's obnoxious. I mean, yeah, he's made some pretty historic calls. He called all four of the Red Sox World Series championships, during the 21st century. One of the more memorable calls that he made was during the 2011 World Series with the Cardinals versus the Texas Rangers. His dad, John Buck, used to call games for the Minnesota Twins, and he got to call the World Series when it was on CBS that year, and the Twins were playing the Braves, and so John Buck had made a very historic call when the game finished in extra innings after midnight. He said, "We'll see you later tonight," right? or we'll see you tonight, kind of a thing, because the game was basically going to be played that same day, right? Well, when uh, uh, John Freese hit the walk off home run for the Cardinals to send the series into game 7 rather. He said, "And we'll see you tomorrow night." So he kind of echoed his dad's line, right? So, and it's not to say that Joe Buck is without his merit. I just, as a baseball fan, cannot stand the droning. I mean, his voice just kind of, ugh. And he's been kind of a fixture on Sundays for the NFL on Fox. Uh, but all that aside, hey, winner, winner, chicken dinner for everybody else. But moving into baseball, there's been a ton of baseball news. While I was gone last week for spring break, baseball came back.
Yeah.
The collective bargaining agreement was agreed upon and ratified by the players and the owners. Spring training games started last Thursday on St. Patrick's Day. And my Red Sox opened up a can of whoop ass on the Twins, 14-1 that day. I know I'm not getting all excited and ahead of myself because I know it's spring training and there was a lot of players that played in that game that are not going to make the big league roster. I mean, they're gonna. The cuts are going to become fast and furious. They're going to figure out who's going to go to minor league camp, things like that. But yeah, there's been some pretty big trade news. One of the biggest, if not the most sought after, free agent of the offseason, Freddie Freeman, finished the year catching the last, not catching the last out, but recording the last out of last year's World Series when the Braves beat the Astros in 6 games. He played for the Braves for 15 years. He became kind of a fixture, right? He just signed a big contract with the Dodgers, so he's heading out west. And there's a lot of people that are like, "Hey, thanks for the memories." There's a lot of people that are burning his jersey, which I never got that. You pay money. You pay money for this jersey, and you're going to sit there and light it on fire. It's like, really? Come on.
It's what people do when they're like super upset and they don't know what to do. They just do something.
Yeah, well, give your balls a tug there, tit fucker. I mean, I think we're past the 5 minutes now, so whatever.
Yeah, we're past.
But let me see here. Trevor Story became the next big name that was out there for the free agency market. The Red Sox just signed him for 6 years, $130 million. And he's going to he's a shortstop by trade, but he's agreed to change his position to play second base because the Red Sox have Xander Bogaerts, perennial all-star, over there at shortstop. So, and they announced today that they signed an extension for Rafael Devers through arbitration. So they shored up they shored up 3 of the 4 positions for the Red Sox infield. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's just the fact that baseball is back, getting to watch live games, getting to listen to it through the big app. Jacob deGrom made his first start of the spring today for the Mets. He struck out 5 of the 7 batters he faced. So I mean, he was absolutely dealing. So he's going to be a nightmare for the National League East. And you've got your finger on a button. What's up?
A talking point.
Go ahead, bring it.
Well, it just came over the thing, and I got this from Fox Sports. MLB sign stealing investigation appeals court ordered Manfield letter to the Yankees unsealed. And apparently the Yankees are asking the 13 judges of the second court to meet, and I'm going to have to use Stephen Hawking here.
All right, hold on. I've got the article pulled up here. Judge Jed S. Rakoff to dismiss the lawsuit by fantasy sports contestants.
That's what I wasn't trying to... On bank. To consider the decision.
Oh, yeah. So... and I'm like, all right, here's the deal.
And from what I'm reading on this, it was mainly trying to keep it over to where the Yankees didn't get any kind of harmful stuff when they were actually being sued.
Well, okay, so Rob Manfield, well, I'm just going to call him Man Clown. Rob Manclown and the owners had punished the fans of baseball more than Manfred punished the Astros for their role in the cheating scandal back in 2017.
Well, it says here they gave him a $5 million, the max amount, $5 million fine.
Ooh, they fined them. They didn't suspend any players. Yeah. They didn't ban anybody for life. They banned A.J. Hinch, who was the manager for the Astros at the time, for 1 year. Alex Cora, who was the bench coach for Houston in 2017, served a 1-year suspension. This all occurred in 2019.
I thought it was 2020. The 2020 season.
2019, 2020. No, it wasn't a 20. No,
well, it was suspended for the 2020
because
season.
Alex Cora came over to the Red Sox in 2018 as their manager, and they went and they won the World Series that year. Okay, and then after all the investigation was over with, they said, "Oh yeah, well there was some sign stealing and there was some electronic devices used." A.J. Hinch and Alex Cora took the responsibility for their role in it, and they served a 1-year suspension away from baseball. Alex Cora came back in 2020, and was reinstated as manager. In 2020, it was the dreaded COVID season, but
it's one of those things that didn't really count.
Yeah. But Brian Cashman is the general manager for the Yankees. Now he's catching a lot of heat already from the Yankees fans, for the Yankee faithful, just because. I mean, he signed a couple of players, made a couple of decent trades for the team during the offseason. Re-signed. Oh crap! I can't. His name is escaping my brain right now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, Manfred in 2017, they find the Red Sox for using Apple Watches to pass along, signals. Mm-hmm. They find the Yankees to a lesser amount, because they used the dugout telephone earlier in the year improperly. The dugout phone is to do nothing more than call the bullpen. The bullpen for the Yankees on the road and at home had people watching signs.
There's a lot to manage in life.
They had them watching signs, mm-hmm. and then they were calling it into the dugout. So they were trying to get over. Now, with the 2017, 2018 season for the Yankees, well, the 2017 season, whenever they went to the American League Championship Series against the Astros and ultimately lost, in all fairness, I think the Astros did outplay the Yankees, but the Yankees should have made that a closer series. Because if you look at the splits, and I'm talking about the batting averages for the Astros players at home versus on the road, they were batting anywhere from 20 to 40 points higher at home than they were on the road, because they had all of the pieces in place to steal signs at home. There's a lot of controversy about, if you watch the walk-off home run that Jose Altuve made against the Yankees to send the Astros to the World Series, when he came into home plate, he was tugging at the sleeve, the left sleeve of his jersey, telling them, "Don't rip my jersey off." There's a lot of controversy, and there's some conspiracy out there that he was wearing a buzzer underneath his jersey sleeve, and that anytime an off-speed pitch was being called, it would buzz on his arm, so he knew what was coming in. And, with the manager and the bench coach at the time taking their year suspensions, 2 years removed, pissed a lot of people off. Because, while they had knowledge of it, and they should have stopped it, they weren't the ones who spearheaded that effort. It was done by the players. The Yankees were stealing signs all year long, and they were doing it in some very crafty ways. But the Yankees and their high-profile lawyers filed an injunction to have this letter from Rob Manfred sealed along with all of the court documents and the evidence that supported the case against the Yankees. Now, and here's my thing.
I still think that would be more favoritism, though.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The Major League Baseball headquarters, their head office is in New York City. Rob Manfred, it's been documented that he is a long time Yankees lover. I mean, just absolute head over heels, loves the Yankees. Whether it's because he's there in New York and they're just the local flavor, whatever it is. It's either that or the Steinbrenner boys have got some kind of dirt or some kind of photos of Rob Manfred wearing a girdle or a fucking teddy or something like that, along the tunes of Edgar Hoover, right?
Yeah.
But whatever the reasoning is, the Yankees had a judge agree to seal those records and to seal that letter because they did not want that information getting out. My thing is that if you don't have anything to hide, what are you trying to get it sealed for?
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a lot of blowback to come back onto the Yankees organization. I'm looking for a lot of fans to sit there and just become incredibly disgruntled with their organization. Just because of the fact that, okay, maybe there's something to the fact that we root for probably one of the worst, one of the more morally corrupt, I say morally, but one of the more, least sportsman-like teams out there. And it's not to say that every player on the Yankees is a piece of garbage. You've got people like Brett Gardner. I like Brett Gardner. I'm not going to go as far as to say I'm a fan of his, obviously, because he still wears the pinstripes. So fuck that guy. But you had a lot of the Yankee greats, and I know, and I'm talking like Mickey Mantle. I'm talking about Lou Gehrig, Derek Jeter, even to a huge extent. One of the guys that I just absolutely respected was Marion Rivera. Hated seeing him in the late innings. Hated seeing him in the postseason. It felt great when the Red Sox beat him, especially in 2004. But Mariano Rivera, he played the game right. Derek Jeter, to a large extent, played the game with a lot of class, a lot of respect garnered from that. Andy Pettitte, he used to pitch for the Yankees. Later on, he finished his career. He left the Yankees, went to go play for the Astros alongside Roger Clemens when the Astros were still part of the National League. And they played. They pitched for the Astros in the 2005 World Series when they got swept by the White Sox. Mm-hmm. But it's some of those great Yankee teams from the 90s. That core group of guys. I would say that I kind of sort of respected Jorge Posada. He was the catcher at the time, but he showed his colors towards the end of his career when he just really started whining about anything and everything. So I'm just like, it is. But this makes me happy, not only as a Red Sox fan, but a baseball fan, because
more Red Sox fan.
I'm leaning that way because I'm an unabashed Red Sox fan. But with this letter becoming unsealed, and everything that came with it, all of that's going to come out to light, and it's really going to do a PR nightmare job for the Yankees organization, and they are going to experience a lot of the ire and the hate that the Astros have been getting for years. So I mean, while I still don't like the Houston Astros, and never will, it's not the same Astros team that cheated their way to a world championship, because a lot of those players are gone. George Springer, Carlos Correa signed a deal with Minnesota to play shortstop for them. But I mean, you still have Jose Altuve there, and I'm not going to speak ill of Jose Altuve, because That my fiance just absolutely adores Jose Altuve. What does she call him? Her spicy jalapeno. I'm just like, okay, all right, yeah, yeah. So I don't feel like threatened by this guy at all because I mean, this guy's about as tall as a 5-penny nail, and all you need is a hammer and just knock him into a piece of wood, and you're good for the day. But yeah. So, but the fact that baseball's back, it's just so good.
Do we want to talk about the elephant in the room?
If you're referring to the jersey that made its debut on the show tonight, no, we don't.
No. You know what I'm talking about. The one thing everybody's talking about right now that happened like 2 weeks ago. Anyways,
I've been to sleep since then.
Okay, this is coming off of USC Fire Twitter's page. He is saying, and he's getting a little bit of flack off of it. What sport is left that is still biological girls versus biological girls? I want to put my daughter into sports that is still favor.
So you're talking about the guy who changed over from men's swimming, where he was ranked 456th in the world, to women's swimming, and now all of a sudden he's the #1 swimmer in women's swimming.
Okay.
It's funny because I saw a Twitter video that was shot in the stands during that swim meet, and a gentleman was talking to a woman in the seat above him. That's not a woman. And she's like, that is a woman. And he goes, no, biology and science state that that is a man. And I'm just sitting there going, okay.
So confrontational, but so brave.
I'm sitting there going, and I had talked with Mindy about this. We were sitting outside, and I was like, imagine being the parents of this man, this boy.
No.
Finish.
Okay.
Imagine being the parents of this boy that decided he was going to become a woman, or identify as a woman, so that way he could actually medal, because he just sucks that hard as a swimmer. If I were his dad, I'd be like, I have failed. I would release a public statement stating, knowing that I'm going to catch blowback from the alphabet crowd, but I'm going to be like, I have failed America as a father.
And we'll get somebody from the alphabet crowd to actually go on this on one of the episodes, because we gotta come on the show to talk about that, and he'll give the honest God truth on it.
Yeah, but yeah, football. I mean, baseball's back. Football's making a lot of news. I mean, the Cowboys are just making all kinds of noise during the offseason, and not a lot of it is good. Tom Brady's back. Fournette, the running back for Tampa Bay, he was talking to the Patriots about signing a deal with them, but when Tom Brady announced his return, he went back to the Buccaneers, and they agreed to a 3-year deal. So he's going to be the running back for the Buccaneers for the next 3 years.
How long is Brady going to stay on? He's
more than likely just one more year. If he can go out on top and he can lift that 8th Lombardi trophy, I can almost guarantee you that he's going to retire permanently. And he really kind of needs to, because if there's one thing that I do not want Tom Brady to do, is I don't want him to stick around in the league for as long as Brett Favre did, to where everybody's like, oh, Brett Favre was the man, but Brett Favre really kind of played himself so long in this game that he just kind of became irrelevant.
Wasn't he the longest quarterback?
He had like the most starts, most consecutive starts. I mean, he was basically the Iron Man of football. But I'm like, come on, I love Brady to death. I mean, he's absolutely and undeniably the GOAT. I mean, hands down. I mean, nobody can deny that. Nobody can take that away from him.
No, there's some people that try to take that away from him. But.
Yeah, well, they can do it. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm talking to the people who would argue against Brady, but your opinion unfortunately is wrong. You're entitled to it still, and we at Angry Me Production must unfortunately respect that opinion. But you are the very, very you're the I wouldn't even say the vocal minority.
I think honestly, I think what it is people hate winners.
They do, and they want to see. They want to see. I mean, you either become the hero or you live long enough to die the villain.
Well, not even that. Ross put it out a little bit better because he had I don't know if it was a PR agent or just an agent when he was doing acting and everything. He's like, what's your favorite actor? He's like, well, it's George Clooney. And he's like, guy typed up George Clooney, and you had like a laundry list of things that people hated about George Clooney. And then he was like, well, what's your favorite movie? It's like, well, Shawshank Redemption. I mean, honestly, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Very good movie. You can watch that anytime you want, and it's still good.
Andy Dufresne. I remember the first time I laid eyes on Andy.
But if you look at the comment section of that movie, you just have people that trash that movie. I mean, you can't really look at the comment section when you're actually
There's one word that can describe people like that.
Trolls.
There you go. Winner chicken dinner.
Luckily, we don't have anything like that yet because John would probably be on it like a freaking. I would just like, oh, thank you for your opinion. Bop.
Right.
I squish it because I just put it away or I just don't even look at it.
But more football news. So there was a pretty big blockbuster trade involving Matt Ryan and the Indianapolis Colts. Matt Ryan he's been the longtime quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. He got introduced as the new quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts today. I mean, you get a lot of these people in the Atlanta area. They're like, I mean, they swore by Matt Ryan. Matty Ice was his name. He took him to a Super Bowl that they unfortunately lost. But I mean, there's people throwing this guy under the bus now, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So I mean, he really wants to go. He wants to go back to the Super Bowl with Indianapolis. Kind of wants to follow the path of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, who was a longtime quarterback in Indianapolis. But that was pretty big deal.
But what about Ryan Bates for the Bears?
Who?
Ryan Bates. I'm looking through some stuff.
I'll get on that here in a second. Oh, big news. Out of Cleveland, Baker Mayfield requested to be traded from the Browns because they went out and drafted a quarterback. And he's like, I'm done. I want to go somewhere else now. So, I mean, he's proven that he can win. No, he's proven that he can win because he helped break the losing streak for Cleveland.
It just sounds like, okay, in my opinion...
The guy is a prima donna. Do not get me wrong. I cannot stand Baker Mayfield.
It's like the same thing fucking Aaron Rodgers did last year.
Yeah, but he does not want to play. He does not want to play. He doesn't want to play there anymore. He wants to go play somewhere else that he said, quote, will give him a chance to win. And coincidentally, it's funny because like all the Reddit boards, subreddits and everything like that, Twitter accounts for all these other teams are starting to see this exodus of Browns fans migrating, advertising. Former Browns fan looking for a new team. I'm hoping to be willingly accepted here, And I mean, there are people jumping ship.
That is really sad.
It's hilarious.
I mean, it's one reason why I don't really get into sports because your team could be good one year and if sad to say, if I was ever a Cowboys fan, it would more or less be like I would have been a Cowboys fan only because my mom would have been alive. It was only when she was a hardcore Cowboys fan. I mean, you and her would probably get along watching football because she would just rant and rave and everything. She was so vocal,
Yeah.
but it it's just one of those things. It's like, how can you take saying this team is so good even after like it hasn't won any kind of event? I mean, it's gotten close. It, man, there's a description. We're at the part, and we get most of our stuff over the cast, anyways, instead of just YouTube and everything. So screw YouTube. We're on Rumble now too.
We do not take kindly to your pity party.
But it's like someone going out and getting the okay, best reference, and I'll use our super fan about this. Maria would come in, get me a hot chick, and say, "Hey, I got you this far. Go ahead." And I just had like Taco Bell, and I have Taco Bell diarrhea. She got me that far, and I just shit the fucking pooch.
You shit the bed.
Yeah, I just shit the bed.
Okay.
And that's what happens with the fucking Cowboys. They get a good team and lineup and everything like that. They get the hot chick. They're all ready and go and everything like that. And then they shit themselves as soon as they get the fucking clothes off.
You know what? No, I don't want to go that far. So here's the analogy that I think works best. The Cowboys go out and they get the prettiest and most expensive hooker out there. Take them back to the hotel. Wine them, dine them. And then when it comes time for the boom boom, she takes off her pants. And she's a lady boy. Completely ruins the mood. It's either that, or you've already paid her. She's given the money over to her pimp, so the money's gone. Okay, or you've Venmo'd the money. She transferred it over to her pimp. By the way, the money's gone. You don't have it anymore. It's not in your account. You take her out for a night on the town. You kind of work her up and everything like that. And, you get the nice, expensive presidential suite in the hotel, overlooking the greatest view in the city, and all she wants to do is cuddle. It's a disappointment, right?
Yeah. No matter what, you're still disappointed.
But when you say things like shit the bed, I mean, dude, that just invites all kinds of just like. I mean, I understand that you brought Taco Bell. I know that you brought Taco Bell into it.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys have yet to obtain shit the bed status because they are not the Cleveland Browns. Okay.
This is true.
All right. However, they have obtained blue ball status, and it's poignant and very apropos that we brought up the fact, or I brought up the fact that they've attained blue ball status, because there's a many of sports shows throughout the state of Texas that talk about the blue star. Cowboys, one of their colors is blue.
I see your reference now.
See where I was going with that?
I see where you're going.
Right,
I see where you're going.
Now, there's a lot of big name free agents out there for the NFL. Tyrann Mathieu, he's a safety, 30 years old, plays for the Chiefs. He's available. Odell Beckham Jr. left Cleveland, signed a deal mid-season, actually about 3/4 of the way through the season with Los Angeles, the Rams. Gets hurt during the Super Bowl. Strains or either re-tears his ACL.
Jesus, that's Christ.
He's
There's 623 free agents for this year.
But it's. I mean, he's. Odell Beckham Jr., not to say the guy doesn't have talent, because he does, just his knee's a liability. I mean, he couldn't even finish the Super Bowl. He's all crying now. Hey, well, I got a Super Bowl ring finally. Yeah, well,
What's
fine.
the maximum amount of players on a field?
Dude, don't ask me that question. I know that there's 11 guys on defense.
No, because I'm trying to do the math. 626 people. That's almost the whole all of NFL almost.
Well, there's a lot of free agents out there, yeah. Now, whether or not a lot of them have jobs, I mean, they're not all starters. Let's just put it that way. Okay? You got a lot of guys that play second string or third string that may have a load of talent. They become free agents because their contracts with their teams are ending. So they're going to go out there and try to get the best money that they can for a chance at starting. Because ultimately, that's what everybody wants to do. They want to get time on the field.
Yeah, because Von Miller right here, he's like $120 million right there.
Yeah. So Stephon Gilmore, he's a cornerback for the for the Panthers. He's available. Dwayne Brown for the Seahawks. He's an offensive tackle. Let me see here.
Center
Javon
back,
Clowney.
J.C. Jackson.
Javon Clowney plays edge for the for Cleveland. I mean, the guy, he was a stud coming out of the draft playing for South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And got drafted by Cleveland. And it's just, I would kind of like to see Dallas maybe pick him up because, I mean, he could be a really great addition to that defensive line. You've got Cialis Campbell as defensive lineman for the Vikings. Let me see here. Rob Gronkowski. They don't know if he's going to play again, but he's available as a free agent. And now that Tom Brady's coming back, he may end up coming back to play in Tampa again as a tight end. I mean, the dude's a beast. I mean, yeah, he's a big frat boy, but...
Well, there's one other thing we got to talk about real quick.
All right.
March Madness. I'm just looking at the bracket. We can't really.
All right. Hold on.
I mean the bracket on this so far we're into the last 4 teams. So far it's Gonzaga, Arizona, Arkansas with Texas Tech and Duke, Michigan and Villanova.
And I don't
Arizona
even watch
and Houston.
fucking basketball, dude. I definitely don't watch college ball. Good God. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So before I go anywhere,
We're doing this for your woman, all right?
I get it. I mean, did she tell you?
No.
Get more basketball in there.
No, I'm just doing.
Because if she did, boy, we gonna have a talk. That's all I'm saying.
No, I was just. It's just one of those things. I know she gets into this, and we need to. I'm helping you out.
You ain't helping me do a damn thing. Shut up. All right, so let me see here. There is. Where did they go? Oh, St. Pete, number 15. St. Pete. Upset number 2, Kentucky. And then they went on and I think they beat what is now? I mean, they're set to play the number 7 seed Murray State, but they're being tagged as basically kind of the Cinderella right now. Nobody really had them picked to do anything. In fact, they're the lowest seed. No, there's a number 16 Wright State, so they're not the lowest seed still, but it just is they were not supposed to go anywhere. Period. I mean, they were supposed to go by the boards in the first round against Kentucky, the number 2 seed. The Kentucky Wildcats got upset, and then they went out and beat another top seed team in the next round to advance to the Sweet 16. So it's kind of cool to watch stuff like that. I mean, when you see teams that are consistently in there, like UNC or Marquette, or UConn or Gonzaga or Villanova, it just I don't know. I mean, Baylor, that's kind of they're a number 1 seed. But I'm just kind of like, I'm over it a little bit. I know, right? Man, I tell you what. Let's see here, official brackets. All right, so right now
What's the
for the men's.
Because we got
Yeah,
North Carolina,
yeah,
UCLA,
Yeah, number. Okay, so they're
Kansas,
in
Providence,
they're in the Elite Eight right now, I think.
Ohio State, Miami.
All right, so number one in the Eastern bracket. Hell, I don't know what they call them.
That and another thing is during March Madness, Black Rifle Coffee has a really good sell. Buy two, get one free. You can actually get any kind of product now at blackrifle.com.
That was very rehearsed. I'm so proud of you, dude. You did not stutter. You didn't mispronounce anything. That rolled very eloquently off your tongue. I'm impressed.
Someone's giving me $5.
I guess so. So number one, Arizona, and number 5, University of Houston, are going to play each other for a chance to go to the semifinals to basically the Elite Eight. Yeah, that's what they're playing for. And then it's going to be number 11, Michigan versus number 2, Villanova. Number 3, Texas Tech versus number 2, Duke. And number 1, Gonzaga versus number 4, Arkansas.
Now, this isn't like football to where it's different packs or anything. It looks like everybody's playing against everybody.
It kind of sort of, dude, it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? Convoluted? Yeah, so number 15, St. Peter, is still in it. They're going to play the number 3 seed in Purdue in their region to advance. Number 8, North Carolina, is going to play number 4, UCLA. The number 1 seed, Kansas, is going to play Providence. The number 4 seed, and Iowa State, number 11, is going to play Miami of Florida. Miami, Florida, the Hurricanes, which are the 10 seed. So there have been a lot of upsets, and there's been a lot of bracket busters out there.
And I like that. I like that, bracket busters.
Yeah, that's what they call them. So, but on the women's side, say women's bracket. Let's see how they are in the second round still, because their Final Four and championship is going to be played in Indianapolis. South Carolina, North Carolina. So it would be a battle of the Kakalakis right there. Number 3, Iowa State versus number 10, Creighton. Number 6, the I see. Look, I pulled a page out of your playbook. The Ohio State University is going to play the number 2 seed Lady Longhorns from Texas. Number 1, Stanford versus number 4, Maryland. The Terrapins. Yeah, look at that. Terrapins, basically a turtle. And then we're looking at Louisville, number 1 Louisville versus number 4 Tennessee, the Lady Volunteers. Number 3 versus South Dakota, number 10 seed South Dakota. Number 3 Indiana Hoosiers, Lady Hoosiers versus the Lady Huskies of UConn, and NC State versus the Lady Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. So, fine, whatever. I don't give a crap about collegiate basketball until it gets to the Final Four. Because then at that point, I know that the season has a definitive ending in sight. And I don't have to suffer through this basketball style or basketball-esque playoff format that they've got. I'm just like sitting there going, here, let's give everybody a turn. You know, I mean, it's like they give the national championship that status of the town whore. Like, everybody gets a chance to stick it in. And I'm just like, seriously, come on. It's almost like, here, the trophy resembles a glory hole, because if you look at it, there's a hole right in the middle of it. So it's like, all right. All right, so moving on from March Madness. All right, so let me do this here. Let me do this. So we have come to have a very popular segment on our show where my 12, soon to be 13-year-old son gives the joke of the show, or joke of the week. So I'm going to call him via FaceTime real quick. And can you hear me? Can you hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, bud, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so this is Colin's joke of the week.
Where do you,
Come on, bro, you're supposed to be ready.
no, it's, where do you send somebody that's been in a peekaboo accident? Me, yeah,
Where?
to the ICU.
Dear God in heaven, that was a horrible joke.
And this week, Colin Joke of the Week has been brought to you by me because, well, that's my genetic code sitting right there. All right, bud. I appreciate it. Get to feeling better. I love you.
Love you.
Yeah, take it
Later.
easy, bud. That was just horrible.
The ICU.
Oh, bloody hell. All right, everybody.
All right, so this is episode 49, man.
Yeah, you got one more.
Yeah, one more. So I think on episode 50, I think, should we bring up the programming note that this is the last episode in the studio?
Oh yeah, it is. Actually is. We're gonna pack everything up. I don't have an indefinite thing. If the people that know what's going on in my life, it's not an indefinite what's happening with me, but we do have to jump ship at the studio because of I'm trying to not. We're just moving.
Due to
locations.
differences of opinion with the management, we are moving locations. So we may be via Zoom for a while until we establish a more permanent, permanent location.
Yeah. It's just going to be a weird time for the next couple of months.
So I'm hoping that when we do establish a new studio location, how can we put this? There'll definitely
be doing Zoom anymore.
There will definitely be a bit more salt in the air.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of throw that teaser out there. And we may do Zooms from time to time, just simply due to the fact that I'm getting an office space when I move down there. And I'm going to have an actual backdrop behind me with like autographed baseballs and different stuff like that.
As much freaking Wi-Fi that gets out of that place, I mean, it was hard enough from last week's episode.
No.
Are you getting fiber?
Time out. Ceasefire. Not going to get fiber. Going to have Xfinity still. However, the house will be blanketed with extenders, Wi-Fi extenders, on a 4 gig plan.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
So, it's either going to be the 1 gig service or it's going to be a 4 gig.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But anyways, everybody, thank you for watching. Everybody that actually watches. I am David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
And keep it classy.
San Diego.